Reselling life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of This Is Your Reselling Life. Tonight, we have Francis Booth, or commonly known as Frank, all the way from WA, and he's going to join us tonight and tell us about his story. So without further ado, I'll bring Frank up on the screen and we'll get started. G'day, Frank. How are you tonight?
Yeah, good, Brad. How you going?
Good, mate. Thanks heaps for coming on. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your night to have a chat to us and share a bit of your story, I suppose. So what is your story? I know that you're 36. You're currently living in Perth. Originally, you were from New Zealand. You moved over to Australia in 2006. And you've sort of been back and forward overseas and stuff. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how you came into reselling?
Okay, so I got started back in 2013. At the time, I was working in a job that was paying low six figures, so it was a good job. It was a lot of time. I was working 50 hours a week and then taking calls after hours, and I sort of got to the point where I had to make a decision whether to stay in that job for the next 20 years or make a change. So I decided to make a change, and I changed jobs and took a $45,000 pay cut.
Wow.
At the time, and as such, I sort of found that money got a bit tighter pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Had to scale back a few things, and the reselling actually came about from a trip to a garage sale one day, and I can't exactly remember what the wife had sent me out to get, but I know it wasn't a box of Pokemon cards. So I've rolled up to this garage sale, and there's this box of Pokemon cards, and I'll flick through them. And I used to collect cards when I was younger, so I've come across a couple of the hologram cards, like the original Charizard and Venusaur from the original set.
Yeah.
And thought to myself that these are, obviously worth a little bit of money. So then and there, I pulled out my phone and bought up eBay on the browser, punched them in, and thought, well, I can sell one of these cards and get $25, $30 for it, and then still be left with the whole lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started from. And then over the next 9 months, I sort of progressively got more into that with buying mainly games and anime discs to start with, back before the streaming services. And then after that, I got a new job, and I was back to working 50 hours a week. But on the weekends, I'd still go out and try and find things. And my whole plan at that time was to find like bulk lots, mainly games and consoles, and find one game out of that lot that would effectively pay for the whole lot.
Yeah.
So that was my plan. And I'd do that. I'd go out, buy them, sell the one, and I'd just leave the whole lot for later. It's kind of like a weird way of collecting, I don't know, like a retirement fund, I suppose, at the time.
Yeah.
And then that sort of lasted maybe 18 months, and then I got seconded up to a remote location. So I was working away doing FIFO, and then that came to an end, and my wife and I ended up going to Africa for a month. We spent a month volunteering in Zambia, helping orphaned elephants. We lived in a tent, cool. And well, it's crazy. And we had a bit of money saved away, but when we came back, I made the decision to try and find a job back in Perth, because FIFO tends to wreck relationships.
Yeah.
I talked to several people up there, and some of them are on their third and fourth marriage, and you sort of ask them why, and they're like, well, you spend all this time away, you make all this money, and then you give half of it away and do it all over again. So I didn't want to do that. And yeah, we found it really hard at the time. Coming back, no one wanted to hire you, because they sort of think, oh, it's just, stepping stone to find something else.
And
so it took 7 months for me to find a new job.
Wow.
And during that time, I ended up selling all of the stuff that I'd collected over those 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, having that stockpile sort of saved you, really.
At the time, we've got a house here, and we ended up buying another investment property while I was working away.
Yeah.
And it would have been pretty close to, being real bad if we hadn't had all that to sort of rely on. Like, I can't get any sort of benefit or entitlement because being from New Zealand. So, yeah, that was sort of good savior.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a fantastic skill to have. Like you said, you came back and you didn't have work for a significant period of time, and you're still able to support your family, which is, that's an amazing thing to have in the background.
Sure is, yeah.
And you're saying the other day that you have a child on the way.
Yeah, little one due in December.
So that'll sort of change your life quite a lot, I suspect.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, it's it'll be a challenge, and I know that a lot of resellers sort of that's why they get into reselling is to have that extra income while their partner's off, or
Yep.
you don't have that dual income, as Bron was saying the other night. So yeah, I think even having that skill on the side is just it's an incredible thing to have, and you're never gonna lose that skill. You're never gonna improve it. So it's pretty awesome. So I know that you do a lot of blogging and you run thrift.me, and you, from everything that I've seen, you're a very regimented young man. Is that sort of how you look at yourself? Do you sort of have a lot of processes that you do, or how do you go day by day, I suppose, in terms of that having that regimentation?
So my background, I went to uni many years ago and did information systems as a major. So I'm very systems orientated and always trying to improve things as I go, little by little. And that's kind of how I approach the reselling as well. Like, it doesn't matter what I do every day, as long as I do something in some form to help, then I feel like I'm maybe making that progress and can keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone does have any questions for Francis along the way, or Frank, please let us know in the chat, and I'll try and bring them up for me as well. We do have a few more questions to go through, but definitely hit him up. There's a lot of people in the chat already. We've got about 31. So that's incredible. That's awesome. A lot of people are saying congratulations on the upcoming child. Congratulations.
Oh, nice.
We've got heaps of people. Sinister's saying that he loves Zambia as well, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Ricky, my man, is he one of your boys?
That's my brother-in-law.
Your brother. G'day, Ricky. Thanks for coming along. Here's a quick question for you. Is that a Star Trek jumper in the background there? Is what Drew's asking.
That's a Star Trek jacket from 1991, the anniversary.
Is it for sale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he'll be messaging you like there's no tomorrow. He's a big Trekkie.
It's got a cool story, that jumper, actually.
Go ahead.
Walked into a shop one day and I saw the other side of it. That's the back of it. And I saw the Star Trek emblem and thought, well, I'll have a look. And I picked it up. It was $35. So now you know what I paid for it, Drew. There you go. Start with that. But I picked it up and I put it back down. I thought, no, I don't want to spend that much money. I walked around the rest of the shop and I've got heaps of stuff, and I've gone up to the counter to pay. And meanwhile, another guy has gone and picked this up and gone into the changing rooms to try it on. And he's come back out and literally walked up to me and handed it to me and go, "Here, man, you might like this a bit better." And he's turned it around. Then I've seen the back and go, "Whoa." And sure enough, I checked the potential profit for it and picked it up.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So it looks pretty cool from here. Bronwyn does have a quick question for you. Are you a full-time reseller, friend?
No, part-time. Full-time job. Just do this after hours.
The after-hour hustle, hey? We're very familiar with that ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we just sort of discussed that we're going to talk about tonight was sort of leveling up. So you mentioned sort of thermal printers, postage savings, and sort of your strengths and weaknesses within a business. Did you want to sort of expand on that a little bit more?
So to give you an idea of where I started from, when I was originally doing the early days, I used a whiteboard, just a whiteboard with some post-it notes on it. So I'd go buy my bulk lot, and then as I would sell things, I'd put a post-it note underneath it bit by bit, and I could tell how much my profit was. Very, very basic. And then one day the dog came in and knocked the board over and everything went everywhere. And after that, I thought, well, time to take it a bit more seriously. So, yeah, I've gradually upgraded as I've gone along. Like originally, we were just printing out labels with just a normal printer. Then I found a Dymo 450 locally, picked that up, use that to print labels for, stuff that you send as a letter. And then recently the 4XL, I've had that for a few months now, and that just saves so much time.
And that prints the 4x6. Hey,
Yep.
the 4XL. Yeah.
I've also started using the 450 to print like thank you labels as well. So I will package things up and then print that out and put it on.
Yeah, and just a sort of a little bit of an added touch to sort of, drag the customer back. Do you do like thank you cards or anything, or is that your sort of thank you on the back of the sticker?
That's my sort of thank you, but I will mention that I was watching Daily Refinement yesterday, and he had an idea about coupons.
Oh yeah.
So you can actually make a coupon for your customer, unique to them, to have, say, 10% off or whatever's in your store. And he was talking about automating that, and I was like, yeah, I can probably do that with some of the software I use. And it'll take a minute or less to do, and then you can potentially just get another sale out of it.
Yeah, get a return customer. So you just sort of mentioned your software. Now I know that sometimes coding and stuff goes over, even my head. So do you want to sort of explain how you use coding to list and that sort of stuff?
Yep. So I started off using templates like most people would. And then I was sort of trying to find a way where I could semi-automate some of the listing processes. And so I ended up doing a bit of research online and came across a piece of software called Auto Hotkey. And it's free and it's Windows-based. And after, quite a bit of research into that and experimentation, I've been able to make a little graphic user interface, or a GUI. I can punch all the details into that, and then basically the process at the moment is it'll open up eBay, it'll put the title into the search bar, hit enter, so the product will come up. It'll then click the sold tab down the bottom. It'll then open a new screen on the listing template page. Click the template, then into the template, wait a few seconds for it to load, and then it'll automatically put all of the information in my GUI into the listing. Wow. And then it'll finally end up on the photos and open up the photos ready to put them in.
That's pretty high level. So if anyone wants any awesome IT help, Frank is your man. I know that you sort of share a bit of it through your blog, and I find your blog interesting because you break it down into sort of sections, and you talk about what's happened that month and sort of the gains that you've had over that month. Yep. So yeah, it's a really cool. It's a cool medium because there aren't sort of a lot of blogs out there about reselling. So why did you sort of start the blog? Was that to keep track of what you were doing, or sort of grow your following, or why did you start that?
A little bit of both. Like, it's good to have that sort of, I guess, documentation about the journey itself, and perhaps someone else can get some use out of it and say, all right, well, I wanted to be authentic with it and put actual numbers up rather than you see all these massive totals on 60 days and you think, well, that's great, how do I get there? Or how much money is that person actually making? Like, maybe you got 20 grand on a turnover, but maybe you're only making 2 and you just can't tell. So that was kind of where I'm going with it. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's a good space to sort of share, and you can kind of come and go to it and read it when you sort of have the time. And I think it's a little bit different to what a lot of other people are doing. So I think it's pretty cool to have a different medium. We have some international resellers in the chat as well. Tommy's from America, so he's saying, "You Aussies are really screwing with my sleep up over here." Tommy, and then Bronwyn's saying, "Tommy, you do the same with us." So Tommy does massive lives, like him and Tracy, 5-6 hours at a time. So if you ever want to do some listing with them in the background, go check them out. So another thing that you mentioned to me recently was you've outsourced some of your work, and how has that sort of worked, and what are you outsourcing?
So my whole process, again, trying to improve it, is the one thing I really hate doing is taking photos of clothes and measuring. I just find it extremely boring.
Yeah.
And so I've started to outsource that process because it's my bottleneck in the whole production line, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm giving out a tub, 25 items at a time. They go out. This nice lady takes photos, measurements, wraps them in the bag, puts my label on them, so they come back all ready to basically, pick, put into satchel and send off.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's easy.
Do you do you have to sort of make a location for your inventory system, or is that sort of pre-sorted when she takes the bags?
It's pre-sorted. So what I would do is I'd get the items that I want. For example, I'm trying to focus on the Rugby World Cup at the moment. I've got heaps of rugby related stuff.
Yeah.
So I will get my iPhone out, bring up a memo. I use the dictating app to talk at it, and I will just pick up an item, say what it is, chuck it in the bin, and then it goes bottom to top. Put it into a spreadsheet, print it off, and I can email it to her or send it to her, and then that's all that's needed. Yeah.
And do you pay per piece? That's what
I pay per item. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. We talked about it, and I was trying to work out, and I talked to a nice lady on the reselling group, and she said, yeah, per item is a better way to go, because that way there's an incentive for the other person as well to work faster or smarter or whatever.
That's awesome. Are you happy to share what you pay per item, or is that something that you keep to yourself?
At the moment, I'm paying $4 per item.
And how many in an hour would she sort of get through?
Depends. I based it on my own sort of throughput, which is pretty slow. And bearing in mind that $4 an hour is also tax deductible for me as a cost.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of less than that as well.
So she's employed as a contractor or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Subcontractor and an ABN.
That's awesome. So you don't have to worry about
anything really. No, just send it out and it comes back.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the best way to do it. I know that Drew and Rod have been talking about it and using programs and stuff. So I think all of us, taking photos of clothing is probably our biggest bugbear, because it does take such a long time. So Jazzy's actually asked, what is your favorite type of thing to sell, Frank? Not clothes, I'm guessing.
Not clothes, no. I like selling books, and I like selling unique things that are, I guess, unique. Yeah.
I noticed that you picked up quite a few over the weekend. Have you sort of got them up and listed at this point?
As you can see, I've got a few boxes behind me, and there's a few more. I've been talking in the blog about having no buy July, no buy August, but
hard.
It's kind of gone out the window as well, because I'm thinking a bit longer term, and with the baby on the way in December, I'm not going to have any time to source. So
no. You'll be a very busy man. And I think now is the time to be getting stuff up, because you've got that Christmas, that Q4 upcoming. So if you're going to be buying, now is probably the time to be doing it.
To give you an example, I've outsourced 3 tubs in the last week and a bit. They're already done, ready to go. There's 75 items that are waiting on me to just list them.
Wow, that's awesome. Rob has asked, how do you organize, Frank? So I guess he's talking about from when you get an item, do you put it straight into a tub to be listed, or do you have like a listing area, or how do you sort of go about getting an item in and then getting it back out again?
I prefer like a batch processing type thing. So I might get a few books, for example, from different missions, if you will, and then list them all at once, just to make it a bit easier. So you're doing the same type of item. Yeah,
absolutely. We found that just in our own space, we try and list like all jeans at once or all games at once. So it's like you're doing the same item. It's a lot quicker for us. Washing the clothes takes more time. Tommy's saying photos is definitely the bottleneck. Good call. I can't find anyone to take photos here that are lazier than I am. Here's a good question from Gay. What platform is your blog on, and do you have a link? I can drop a link in afterwards, but did you want to talk about what platform it is on? And
it's just on the web, just a WordPress site. It's just www.thrifter.me with the little dot.
Yeah, I'll get a link off you afterwards and drop it in the in the description so people can come over and check you out. I might even link it in my Instagram as well, just so people can come and go and find it a lot easier as well.
Sure.
Could you steam instead? So the person before was talking about washing. So steaming, we steam. Do you?
Sounds like steamer, but it's out with the contractor.
Yeah, makes sense. Train your kids to resell. I have 5 kids and all making money, sometimes more than me.
It's on the cards, don't worry.
Yeah. Get them trained up nice and early. By 3, they should be taking photos, I reckon. So just whip them into line. I buy from bins at a low cost. They need to be washed, unfortunately. Yeah. Sometimes we come across stuff that, you can just tell needs a quick clean before it goes out the door. So definitely worthwhile. And we've got 39 people in the chat, which is awesome. So if you guys have any more questions for Frank along the way, definitely chuck them in. I'll try and make sure that we tackle all of them as we go. Kara's saying that never happens to know by July or August. I completely agree. This is all needs to be listed. So yeah, I've got some work to do. So I guess in terms of your week-to-week routine, do you have a day? So you mostly source on weekends, or you sort of do you have a schedule that you sort of adhere to, or?
So I'm quite lucky. I've got a few sort of synergies around where I live. My job is now pretty local. It takes only 20 minutes to get to and from there, and I'm filling in at the moment in a different role. But usually I'd be able to get out on the road as well. So if I've got a spare 30 minutes at lunchtime, I'll stop off at a local thrift shop and have a look around.
Yeah, definitely.
And you'd be surprised how often you can find $100 just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah,
in 10 minutes.
It's crazy. So, and then sometimes you go out for a full day and find barely nothing. It's just so hit and miss, and it's all timing, I think.
So yeah, like I usually finish around 3:30 or 4, and on the way home I can probably do 2 or 3 in my area.
Wow!
And sort of rotate them through during the week.
And do you have a lot of op shops in Perth?
There's quite a few, yeah.
Have you hit them all?
Not all of them, no. I mean,
it's hard.
Perth is a couple of 100 k's from the top to the bottom, so it's a fair distance.
A fair drive.
Yeah. But yeah, around my area, I think there's about 9 that are in sort of a 10-minute drive from where I live, so it's pretty handy.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a huge difference when you have those locals that you can just sort of pop into every once in a while. We've got a few in the city, so yeah. Kara's saying Big Sammy's for the win. I think Kara just went over to Perth on a bit of a holiday / thrifting adventure.
I saw the trip to the bins.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the bins. I haven't found any bins in Adelaide, so yeah. Here's a good question. Do you find there are many other resellers in WA?
I think there's a few. I'm pretty sure I've come across a couple in the last week. Actually.
Yeah.
I've a strange look, and people looking at their phones, sort of a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah, you can sort of pick them out from a mile away, I reckon. And sort of flicking through the clothes or rifling through the games and scanning books and stuff. But I think I don't know if it's because you're in it that you sort of start noticing more people, or more people are coming on, or it's it is. I think we notice more people now. So yeah, there's bins in Newcastle. I flew back from site the other day, 24 kilos overweight. Here's some
items.
I'm presuming so, yeah. Kia ora, where in New Zealand, NZ, you from? My wifey is from Rotorua.
I'm from a small town called Pahiatua, which is half an hour east of Palmerston North Island.
I'm originally from Alice Springs, and there was a lot of New Zealanders there, and they taught me a few phrases, probably not too many that are appropriate for here, but they're good guys. What's the next major goal? We are getting to that, so we'll come back to that one. I did get Neville's info. He's trying to nab a game off me. So, and your shipping, do you sort of ship daily, or do you ship, every 2 days, or what's your sort of process with that?
So my most of my listings are set as 2 days handling time. I do have a few on the 1 day on the higher value items, just because you get that bump in the search rankings.
Yeah.
As a top-rated seller. But I will usually try and ship daily, particularly if I've got a few items. I'll also ship on Saturdays too. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing, but I kind of feel like it triggers the algorithm a little bit to give you a bit of a boost in sales. You know, if I've got 2 days as a handling time and I'm shipping in one, I've been surprised quite a few times that I'll have another sale within, half an hour after doing it.
Wow. Yeah. We went from 2 to 1 and it seems like it's making a reasonable difference. So definitely.
It's pretty mandatory, like trying to do everything in a day, particularly like if I get held up at work, it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah. So we don't do same day, we do one business day. So if someone buys something today, I have to ship it out by tomorrow evening. Yep. But because of our work hours, we have to get it done pretty much tonight so we can ship it in the morning. Here we go. Frank, you use tech to a much higher level than most of us. Do you have any plans, desires to teach your expertise for a fee?
Yeah, at some point. It's sort of, I guess it comes down to time and money again. Like, my time is the most precious thing I have, and it's the same for everyone. And particularly with a new member of the family coming up, I want to make sure that it's where it should be.
I think that's where those sort of fees come into. I think a lot of resellers understand that time is money. So when people are sort of outsourcing stuff, they're sort of usually willing to pay a standard sort of fee. So I think there's definitely some opportunities there for you because I have no idea. So yeah. Oh my God, there was a guy in the Salvo store I went to. He was looking up runners. It took him over 20 minutes. It's crazy. This guy is actually from the UK. Interesting username. Yeah. He's like a mod to a huge amount of channels. So thanks, mate, for coming in. Everyone calls him BCP because I think they're a bit nervous to say his name. But he's awesome. A great resource, especially as a mod. So that's awesome. Hold on. What do we got? Here we go. Do you have any automation for item posting listing? So that's what you're talking about sort of before, but do you have anything set up for running promotions or anything like that? Is that something that you can do?
Not really. The promotions is just I've basically got a perma sale on most of the time. I find it does make a difference. So I'll set my prices high and then run the sale monthly, pretty much.
Definitely. I think that's probably the best way to do it. And do you use best offer as well? Do you use that feature?
I have, but I haven't had a lot of success with it either, to be honest.
What about do you put like best offer on your items so people can make you an offer as well?
Most of the time, 99% of my items will have best offer on them as well.
Yeah, I think it's good to have, and you can set for those that haven't used it, you can set like lower limits so you don't get those low ball. If you're selling something 100 and someone offers you 50.
I have auto decline set so my time doesn't get wasted.
Yeah, because you will get those, unfortunately. But if you've got auto decline set up, then it doesn't really take up too much of your time. Hi, Sinister Brad Francis. Thank you. Everyone is equal. I'm no better than anyone else. Sinister loves bum crack picker. I'm not sure if that's a reference to something odd or not, but he's a good bloke. So Look Mum, I'm Hustling, which is Drew and Sarah, have asked about your future goals. Do you have an idea where you want to head? Do you have a figure in mind? Do you have a listing amount in mind? Do you have anything that you're working towards apart from obviously the new child on the way?
Are you talking a couple of years or 5-year plan or 10-year plan?
Yeah. What's your 2-year and what's your 5-year, I suppose?
So I'll backtrack a little bit. So my dad was living over here for a number of years, and he worked as a landscape gardener. And one day he basically lost his job for being too old. And it sort of, I guess, really hit it home for me that I need to find something else to do. So eventually the next sort of 10 years, I'd like to scale back and maybe work a couple of days a week on a normal job, and then spend the rest deriving income from reselling.
Yeah.
So
I think that's an awesome plan to have, because not only once you get older, it's harder to get work, but the retirement age is what, 67 now or something like that in Australia. So
probably
it's just
70.
yeah, exactly. By the time we get there, who knows what it's going to be. So anything that you can do to put yourself in a better position financially it's incredible, really. It's great that we have these opportunities, because say 20, 30 years ago, you had to sell things by going to a market or, meeting your next door neighbor or something like that. Whereas now we have so many tools at our disposal to do these sorts of things.
So I was going to say near term, the next couple of years, I just want to get to the 1,600 listings for a start. I'm sitting at 800 at the moment, and just I'll sell 80 whatever for the month, and then it'll just keep going down again. So that's goal number one, is just to get those up.
Yep.
The next goal is to actually get some of the stuff out of the house. Looking at some storage, and again, I'm kind of lucky with some circumstances where I can actually probably get rid of a lot of the stuff and have it stored off site, but still accessible.
Yeah. I think for a lot of resellers, if you don't have the space, that's the biggest problem, is trying to find room for things. And that was our problem when we were before we moved here. We're in a 2-bedroom unit, and you can imagine how overcrowded that gets quite quickly. I think it's an issue for everyone, and there are options like you can do fulfillment in Australia, but you're paying extra fees whether you buy a storage unit or
that's right.
It is hard. Here's Cara saying, I find the best time to send an offer is just after you've listed something new and someone watches the item. I send the offer straight away. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, it's hot, I suppose. Watcher1421, I was starting to wonder whether I was the only one from England in the chat. So we're got a bit of a worldwide viewing audience at the moment, which is pretty awesome. Here we go. What era is the Star Trek? We did answer that earlier, Neville. It was 91, wasn't it?
91. Yep. 25th anniversary.
That's awesome. Here we go. What's up down under? What is your thoughts on sending dead stock to an auction place?
You could, yeah, sure. I've actually considered that as well. At the start, I bought a lot of books that I wouldn't buy now.
Yeah.
And you could do that, or you could just sell them at a loss as well, just to
garage sale, maybe even.
Yeah.
We actually are looking at doing that soon, because ages ago we bought that big ink haul, and we have a lot of the generic stuff left over.
Yeah.
We're looking at, actually, last week behind me was all ink, and I cleared it all out so that I could get it there, because it was just in the way. So people complain about eBay fees, but I think we are lucky to be able to list so easily and sell on eBay versus opening a brick and mortar. I totally agree. Yes, eBay fees do take a percentage, but you just need to know that at the start. So, yeah. Sinister, how long have you been FIFO, Frank? So you're not FIFO anymore, are you? That was
not anymore. No, I did 2.5 years, and then I've done a couple of short stints in the last year.
Was that mining or?
Yeah, well, it was oil and gas to start with, and the last two have been iron ore.
Yeah. Neville saying thanks. He was late as usual.
The FIFO was still good though. Like with the change in handling time, I'd still go up for a couple of weeks, and then I would come back and have like 20 things to ship. So it was still good.
Yeah. Kept you busy on the way back.
Yep.
So yeah, if anyone else has anything else that they would like to ask, please drop it in. Looks like we've still got 38 people in the chat, so hopefully we can get some more questions, or just see if we have missed anything. Always comes down to time and money, absolutely. Yeah, looks like we're up to date. Here we go. Nice. I do security on a gold mine and private security on my holidays. Sinister's a bit of an enigma, so he's I see him around a fair bit, but he's a private man, which is fair enough, due to his job, I believe. And you said that you're outsourcing now. Are you still sort of are you still listing alongside that yourself, or are you sort of outsourcing that whole process?
So just the clothes, pretty much.
Okay. Yep.
I still don't mind taking the photos and everything else.
Yeah, just the clothing. Does your partner like to do some reselling with you at all? Bronwyn? Same?
She likes the buying part of things, but not much.
Don't we all?
She's pretty talented in her own right, though. She runs a charity,
Wow.
part time, and also paints and sells artwork for more than what I can make in a week reselling. So,
wow, yeah, I don't have a ability to do any sort of painting, or I have no ability. I'm useless. Stick figures is about the extent of my prowess in that field.
You and me both.
I think you either have one or the other. Like you have a really sort of analytic mind where you understand numbers and you understand process, or you have that ability to create art, and I certainly don't have that. Are you using your profit for specific things like holidays, saving, or are you just everyday things like bills?
So at the moment, it's all going into the investment property. So I kind of figure it as every dollar invested in that equals about 4 when you factor in interest, over 30 years. So yeah, make a couple of $1,000 a month, and that's $8,000 in theory that you're saving between 2 and 6.
You haven't? Is the house you're living in yours as well?
Yep.
Yeah. So well,
the bank owns most of it still, but
yeah, they own both of mine as well.
Yeah.
Are you in Insta? I'm presuming that's on. And do you think you are better on Insta to meet? And do you think you are better on Insta to meet fellow resellers or provide brand page? So I guess she's asking, how do you use Insta, and do you find that as a way to connect and network with people, or are you using it to drive sort of traffic to your websites, or do you use Insta for that sort of stuff?
I've made sales on Insta before, but mainly I use it to drive traffic to the website more than anything else.
Your blog?
Put the blog, mainly that. I've been meaning to get onto YouTube as a platform and do more videos and I guess tutorials, things like that, but I haven't had the time to do it.
Yeah.
But after the weekend and using stories, Instagram, maybe I'll do a bit more on that, I think, going forward.
I think that's a good start. Insta, you can kind of, you don't have to spend ages editing things. It's a smaller type video and people can still interact with you quite well. So I think it's definitely a good stepping stone. Here we go. Our mate BCP. Does Frank have a channel? Is the name shown on screen correct or a typo? So it was just saying that it doesn't have a YouTube at this point.
It's actually set up as that. So there is a YouTube channel, which is that as it is on screen. So you can go and subscribe to that for future content.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. You can drop that link in if you want. From Crack, that's fine, if you can find it. Petey. So Peter is, look, Mum, I'm Hustling's cameraman, Jester. It's a funny guy. When does reselling become a full-time job? Seems like everyone I've met in this community, reselling is more of a side hustle. Do you have anything to say on that? I've got a little bit of an opinion, but if you want to.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's when you want to make it, I suppose. Like, there is a real possibility if I lost my job tomorrow, I could do this full time already.
Yeah, I think it is. A lot of people use it as a side hustle to try and build an income and build an extra income rather than replacing the one they've got. I think a lot of people like the security of having a paycheck week to week. And I think it is hard. Like you have to work out how much you're actually bringing in, how much you need to have to become full-time. But there are some very successful full-time resellers, even in Australia. So it is definitely possible. I know that Drew from Drew's Reselling is full-time. Also, Rod, due to circumstances, has gone full-time as well. There's another guy on the Gold Coast who does crazy numbers who's full-time, so it's definitely possible. Some fighting words right there, Brad. We love you, Petey. Yeah, so I guess you're working towards having that security net, I suppose, and working towards providing for your new family. So that's that. I think that's a great sort of headspace to be in. Is you're always going to have that regardless of if your circumstances change as well. So
that's right.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for Frank? We've been on 40 minutes. We have 38 still in the chat. So thank you, everyone. It's been awesome so far. Do you have any sort of other things that you wanted to discuss at all, Frank?
So I wanted to circle back to the spreadsheets that we were talking about with Drew on the live the other day. So we talked about what he was tracking and everything, which was spot on. The one thing that is extra that I'll mention is at work we have a thing called gross profit per person per hour, and that is a factor of the profit versus time. And that's something that I think that a lot of people need to start tracking a bit better.
Yeah,
resellers I'm talking about, because I've started to do it in the recent spreadsheet that I've made, and I found that some of the items that I've gone out and bought, after I've factored in time to spend extra shipping, I would have been better off going to work for an hour.
Yeah,
as opposed to that.
Yeah, I think that's something that we don't break it down like you said, but I'm very aware of when I'm buying something how much I'm going to get out of that and how long it's going to take me to list, to photograph, and then to pick and ship. So that's sort of where we aim for that $25 profit per item. So it's more of a per item thing for us, but I think it's definitely worthwhile sort of understanding how much time you're putting into something and how much you're getting out of it. Because if you're getting $5 out of an item and it's taking you an hour to do that whole process, then you're not really making money for your time. So I think that's a very valid point, and I think that a lot of people get trapped in that sort of, I can buy this for $5 and sell it for $20, but by the time you paid fees and shipping, where your profit's quite small. So unless it's something that you have a lot of them and it's really easy to list one and do multi-quantity, then that item's probably not worth your time and effort to pick it up. Some people will disagree, but that's just how we've sort of we've worked out works best for us, I suppose. And by the sounds of it, that's what you do as well.
Well, I started off when I was looking to make at least $10 an item, and that's since increased to 20 or more.
Yeah.
So I've started leaving lots of things that I know that I could pick up and make $10, but I've got to value my time more to get that value.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we all sort of start out and you don't know as many categories and you don't know as many things. So it does take time to sort of, learn and understand profit margins and what items are going to sell and how quickly items are going to sell. So it is all a learning experience. And I don't think, someone brand new that's come into it will be able to just be making 25 on every item straight away. It takes time to sort of process these things. So,
yeah, definitely.
Zoe, wow, that's a really hard name to say. So true. It took me a few months to realize this. Do you want to give that name a crack? That's probably about right. I've learned so much since she started, so that's awesome. And everyone makes mistakes, and I don't think it's about it's bad to make mistakes. It's learning from those mistakes.
It's good to make mistakes.
Yeah, you don't.
Actually, we should probably touch on that. Is fear.
Yeah,
I see a lot of that. People talking about not wanting to ship international or ship certain things, or you should just do it.
Yeah, and
if it doesn't work out, you learn something from it.
Yeah, and I think initially shipping overseas. Oh wow, I can't speak. Shipping overseas is pretty daunting because you need to understand the weight classes. You need to understand if it's going to fit in those satchels, or you need to put it in a box. And sometimes it doesn't calculate correctly. So you just have to work around it, and you have to start understanding how things work. And once you've done it once or twice, it's almost as easy as shipping interstate. So I think if you're not putting international on, especially unique items, then you're probably losing out. We've sold a lot of stuff overseas that we probably wouldn't have sold in Australia. So,
the market's just hundreds
it's so much bigger. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. So I did come up with another question. What has been your biggest success in reselling? So whether it's buying something for $1 and selling it for 200, or do you think just your journey has been the biggest success? Is there something that you can pinpoint as your biggest success?
So I've got I actually wrote a list out of some things I thought you might ask about that, and there's several about like finding a book for $5, selling it for 200, and a couple of hours later on the same day.
Yeah.
But the one that really sticks out to me, there was an RSPCA shop in the area that actually closed down. The lease had come to an end, and they had this big sale, and they started off with 25% off. And I went in there and I found a whole bunch of band tees and picked them up for a good price. I knew the lady as well, and she threw in a free Nirvana flag, and I paid like $25 for all of the stuff.
Wow.
The next week I came back and it was 50% off, and it had been pretty well picked over by then, and I still found a couple of things. The week after was 75% off, same thing. And then the final week, the week before they were, closing for good, was a $2 sale.
Wow.
And actually, I should mention that's where I found that free ink as well during that. So the last week was the $2 sale, and I've walked in there, walked around, and as you can imagine, the shelves are pretty much bare. And I've picked up these scissors, and they're called pinking shears, and they're used for sewing. And I don't know, you get to this point where you just see quality rather than the item itself, and you go, that looks well made, it looks old, I'm going to pick that up and have a look. I didn't even bother checking solds or anything, because that $2 there's no risk really. So I've done that. I've walked around. Then I found the sewing box, which has they're called dot patterns from NZ as well, from the 70s. Yeah. $2. Picked that up. I've gone up to the counter. I've had store credit still left. So I've ended up paying 50 cents for these two items.
Wow.
I listed the scissors a couple of days later, and they sold within a week for $100.
Wow.
And it's not about the money in that case. It's about recognizing that the brain has got to the point where it can make its own opportunities.
Yeah.
In a completely different category that I've never even touched before.
Yeah, there's so many categories, and there's so much opportunity. And I always say to people that if you're not learning and reselling, you're probably not trying hard enough, because it's so vast, and there's so many things that you can learn, and you will continue to learn. So I think that's a great example, because everyone else looked over that item, everyone else left that item there, and your brain was in a position to go, that's probably a good item. Let's look it up. Let's have a chance. Let's take a chance. Bravo Charlie, Ozpost tells me there is an extra step for posting to US and China. Do you know what that is? They always have trouble when lodging items for the US. I know that they recently have to input a lot more information to send to US and China. They have to input all the addresses, all the item details into their computer, but that shouldn't stop them from sending it. So you might just have a post office that are lazy and don't want to do their job properly. You can do it online. Apparently, I had a look and I haven't had much success with it just yet, but I know it is an option. They said that you can fill it in online and it'll give you like a code, like a QR code to take in on your phone. So it is an option, but generally they probably just don't want to do it because they have to type everything into the computer. So yeah, just tell them to do it. Good advice. Yep. Anything unusual, look it up. I think that's a key. I know that Cara, she's from Adelaide actually, so we sort of follow her on Instagram, and we're hoping to do something with her a bit later on. But she does such different stuff to us. She does a lot of like China wear. She does a lot of women's clothing, which we don't do a huge amount of. But so many people do different things, and you can always learn off other people. So I think that's why stuff like this and the reselling group and all those sort of mediums is a great way to learn, because there's so many different things that you can possibly sell, and you just never know. Like, you could find, for example, Kath from Ministry of Stuff, she's changed her name now, but she found a cup that she paid like 50 cents for and sold it for $1,200. Like,
Yep.
who would think that happened? Yeah, exactly. Like, fair enough, it was very rare, but yeah. Bravo Charlie, yeah, I did try the QR code and they still had issues at multiple occasions. They did manage to do it. Wow, I've sent probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 since they've done that change, and I just walk in there and they've been fine. I do go in there quite a lot, so maybe it's because they know me. I don't know.
I think that helps. Yeah, the post office know me pretty well too.
Yeah. Have you had much success with photo search tool and eBay? Have you used that at all, Frank?
I have, and limited.
Yeah. Mine's been very poor. I just use the scan function when it has a barcode that I don't know. So if I find something new and pack it, I'll give it a quick scan, because there's so many things out there I just don't know. When looking at comps, good question, Mom. It just takes longer at my post office. Sounds like they are. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Like, it just takes a little bit longer. Coming into Christmas, I'd probably suggest that you try and do that online thing, because the lines are going to get pretty hectic if everyone's sending stuff overseas. I might have
lockers.
Yeah,
this is good.
I'm gonna look into it a bit more closer as we get closer, and I might do a piece on it, or I might even contact you so you can do some blog stuff with it, because that's probably the right medium for it, I'd suggest. Yeah, cool. So we're 51 minutes in, so we'll probably give it, I don't know, another 10 minutes or so. We still have 38 people in, which is incredible. So thank you, everyone, for coming along. We really appreciate all the support, and, you know, another great story from another awesome Australian reseller. How have you found the Facebook group? Is it something that you've sort of gain from, or do you sort of use it as just a networking platform?
I've talked to quite a few people in the group itself, and yeah, it's certainly helped me as well. A lot of you guys will know Leighton, who does all the vintage clothing, so I've had some good DM chats with him about various items, and get his opinion on some things, and vice versa. I've done the same thing and given him some items that he might have just breezed over before. So it works good. Yeah,
Leighton is he's very good with vintage stuff and authenticating stuff as well. So, and that's the benefit of having something like that is, you know, one person might know how to authenticate something, some person might know how to ship something better than you. Like, it's all learning, and that group is growing every day. It's pretty awesome to see the interaction that's going on in there. So, yeah, I'm really glad that we're part of that. So, yeah, if you guys haven't jumped on the Australian reseller page, there is a link in our Instagram that you guys can head over to. I'll probably drop a link in as well, just so, you know, if you guys want to head over there for some support or just get to know people. There's always some fun on that page, so we keep it pretty light. Here we go. What kind of content are you hoping to make on YouTube, Frank?
So I was going to stick with more of the automation side of things. A lot of the stuff that I do, I use at work as well. So not only does it help me with reselling, it helps me get lots of stuff done at work and leave on time. So there's plenty of stuff out there about what to buy, and you can look at Instagram and YouTube for all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking of going a bit different.
And I think that's good. Like, it's good to find a niche. Drew hates that word. Drew reselling. It's good to find something that's different to what other people are putting out there. And
what about niche, Drew?
Yeah, he doesn't like niche and genre. He hates. Yeah, but I think with your knowledge, there's definitely a market there for it. So, I definitely encourage you to.
I use all sorts of stuff. Like at work, I'll use email templates. I have autocomplete for words and whole sentences. So I'll type a couple of keys, and out comes a whole sentence. And I can type a whole email in about 10 seconds with 3 or 4 sentences, and done.
It saves a heap of time.
Huge.
I've been using a parcel locker for sending. So convenient, considering my post office is 12 minutes away. That's awesome. Jazz is saying, great to find reselling buddies to bounce ideas off of the Facebook group. Cara, are you and your wife op shopping for baby stuff?
We sure are, and it's been amazing. I cannot believe how much new in the packet stuff that we have found.
Yeah,
related to baby.
We've seen it quite regularly, and some of that stuff goes for really good money as well. So if you guys haven't looked into baby stuff, especially brands like Event, which is Philips, and a few others, that even dummies, like, they can go for crazy money. So yeah, definitely look into that.
I also took advantage of the Prime Day sale. So a lot of the stuff that we wanted was on sale on Prime Day, and I saved about $600-700 or something.
Wow, that's awesome. Rosalind's saying Australian reseller page is the most supportive group I have ever been in. That's awesome, and that's a credit to all the people in that group. So thanks everyone. That's amazing. Drew, no French, please. It's crazy. BCP Sinister timeout, please. I don't know what's going on there. Jazzy's dropped in your blog, thrifter.me. So yes. Automate inbox 0. I cannot stand people who go on something. How many emails they have in their inbox? Baby stuff doesn't sell. It's a niche.
You'd be surprised.
It does. Like, we've picked stuff up, and he said he's kidding. Here we go. Drew's reselling meeting. I nearly did. Sinister. I don't know what's happening here. I understand. So Sinister's dropping some French words, and Drew is asking for him to be moderated. That's funny. Yeah, so I guess I don't sort of have any sort of further questions, but yeah, I just wanted to thank you for being a part of tonight, and I think that it's really good to chat to different people about their journeys and how they do their day-to-day, because we're all different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, and I've already learned a heap of things in the last 2 to 3 weeks just from talking to people like this. So thanks for being a part of it tonight. And yeah, I think that, you know, your story is really interesting, and everyone's story is interesting. So thanks heaps for that, Frank.
You're welcome.
We are working on a few more next couple of weeks. Old Pommy Picker was going to come on with us next week, but he had to pick up his son. So I am looking for someone to come on next week. I do have a couple more that are interested, so I'll sort of contact them. But if anyone does want to come on and have a chat, doesn't matter what level of reselling you're at, whether you're a week in or 20 years in, I think everyone's story, there's something to share in every story. So thank you, everyone, for being a part of tonight. Everyone's saying thank you very much for coming, Frank. Look, Mum's saying very cool to see your face behind the blog. Love learning about how your automated approach works for your store. I love your blog, Frank. Great work.
Thank you.
No, Neville's given us a shout out before we go. Hit the thumbs up, people, if you like. Yeah, that'd be great, guys. That'll really help us out. And it sort of motivates us to continue these types of things, because it is something different, and yeah, I think it's got value behind it. So if you guys like this video, please leave us a like, and even drop us a comment if things you want to see something different. Definitely let us know, because yeah, we're happy to change things up. The suit's probably here to stay now. After Drew talked me into it the other week, and I don't think I can back out of it now. It's a bit tight around the neck, but we'll get there.
Good.
A few more things. Look forward to the content. Looking forward to all your future content. Awesome to hear about your journey. That's for you, Frank. Thanks so much. I love watching you guys. Awesome work, guys, and thanks, Frank. Yeah, so we're pretty much smack bang on an hour now. We still have 39 people in, so thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I'd like to, again, thank Frank for coming on. And, yeah, we'll definitely see you next time on This Is Your Reselling Life. Everyone is signing off. I'll be in my suit and cap, sit and cap. I don't know what's going on there. Cheers, everyone. Good chat. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, gotcha.
And look, Mum's giving us a big thumbs up. So thanks, everyone. And yeah, we'll sign off for now, and we'll see you next time on Two Aussie Thrifters. See ya.